It's time for the B-A-Q-A, the B-A-Q-A, what you say? The B-A-Q-A with Mandy, the B-A-Q-A with Tiffany, the B-A-Q-A. So if you have questions, we have answers, but be mindful that we're not your doctor, not your attorney, not your financial advisor, but your friend. So if you want to sue somebody else, choose your brother and them. Okay, so take what we say with a small grain of salt. If you have questions, you can go to brownambitionpodcast.com and click contact us and ask questions there. We prefer, though, if you slide in our IG DMs, Brown Ambition Podcast, and ask us questions there. If you want to be left anonymous, please give us a fake name. Make it fun. Make it saucy. Make it sexy even. Okay. So we take questions about entrepreneurship, career, business, and money. Mandy, what are we doing this week, Mandy?
We got some juicy career questions, which means I am so excited. And should we just get right into it? One of the first questions is fascinating about whether, what happens if a company checks your credit report before you're hired. And our second question is really about, that was the first. So our second question is about a transition, how to get out of education and start / your own business and also a corporate job in health education. I feel like I did a really terrible job choosing those questions.
I was like, it's not as exciting as it sounds. It's better than what Mandy made it sound. Go ahead, Mandy. Just go ahead and read the question.
Just delete that part and we'll just get into the questions.
No, keep that part. I love it. She said one of the questions is about watching paint dry. So there's
Okay, let's do question 25 from AJ from IG. Woo, Tiff, you want to read it?
Sure. AJ says, good morning, great ladies. I put the great part in. First and foremost, I love your show. It gives so much information. It's fun and informative. She says, or he, I'm writing with a listener letter. I'm in need of advice big time. She said, address her as AJ. Okay. She said, I am so over the education field. I have worked as a health educator for the past 3 years, but I've also had education-like jobs for an additional 2 years. Waking up every day to go to work is a struggle. I often feel really miserable and tired. You name it, thinking about it or going into work. I don't make as much as I would like, and I'm eager for more fulfilling, higher paying, and more creative job. Okay. The subject that she teaches is often underappreciated and looked over by this age demographic. I have a nutrition business, which doesn't make me as much money as I would like. Definitely not enough to live on the moment, in the moment. And I am a health and wellness educator. I've always dreamed of working a corporate wellness job or working in my nutrition business full time with other wellness initiatives. I want to change people's lives and help them become healthier and happier versions of themselves. Can you please give me some advice on transitioning out of the teaching profession and advice for pursuing a corporate wellness job and pursuing her own business as a full-time job? She needs to make this change for her own health and wellness. Thank you so much. Please keep up the amazing work. AJ, she said, child, she over these babies. I'm assuming she's in the school system.
Well, that's what I was wondering, but it could be higher education too. Something maybe she's a teacher of nutrition. I think it's kind of ironic that she's struggling with her health because of a job where she teaches people about health. It's really bad for my health. But just goes to show you that really burnout is real in any career. So, the first tip I have is, this is one of the reasons why I say don't wait for your FU moment to make a career change. Because the most difficult thing when you are in such a state of desperation, not desperation I'll take anything, but desperation of get me out of here, is that you sometimes if you make decisions with that kind of energy behind it, you can often make knee-jerk decisions, impulsive decisions that actually are not best for the long term. Also, you kind of carry that energy into your next thing. And there's been multiple times where I've been on a coaching call with a client and I've been like, you're asking me for the best advice because you're interviewing for this job or you're trying to find a job or you're, in the final round of interviews and they have an offer. But what is screaming in front of me is someone who needs a break. to rejuvenate just a little bit. So that came to mind because I'm like, when you're so stressed and so burnt out, and then you try to bring that energy into a corporate job interview, especially in a field where it's competitive, you may have a bunch of other candidates, like that energy can work against you. The other person in an interview, it's as much about skills as it can be about the way they feel after they're speaking to you. And if they get a sense of like, especially if you're going to be in health education, I think they want probably someone who's excited about it and, bringing a certain new, fresh energy to it. And unless you can really fix or start working on the mindset and start working on your energy around this and getting excited about it again, I think you will struggle to find a really great job in corporate. And one of the things you can do you have the best answer, but ask yourself, like, why did I get into this in the first place? And what is it about it that lights me up? And how can you get back to doing that? So it could be that the actual work itself you love, but the environment that you're in is awful. So can you do some, even your coaching practice, like just focusing on the coaching practice, maybe not focusing on it in a way that like, I have to be making money. I need a business because I got to get out of this corporate, I got to get out of this education field, but just kind of let it be fun. Like just work with clients a little bit. It may sound counterintuitive, and Tiffany may be like, what kind of business is not supposed to make money? But I feel like you need to rediscover your love and sparkle about this work. And either that's maybe taking a break, or it's just by doing some work just for the pure love of it and really, focusing on why this is making you feel so great and reigniting that passion or excitement that you have for the field. Now, like when it comes to corporate wellness job, like that's totally possible. There are on the benefits teams, there's people who review health policies, there's people who manage employee health initiatives, and that is all completely possible. But you're putting this big oar of working in my nutrition business full time. And that is where I feel like it's tricky, because part of me is like, yes, another corporate position. A corporate position can be a good like environment shift for you. But if you're also trying to launch a business at the same time, how it's going to make it even more difficult to focus on getting that corporate opportunity. And I'm just saying, like, it's a lot all at once. And this is one of those things where, like, when you're so desperate to like get out of something, you're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then it just becomes all muddled. Does that make sense? So like, I would ask you, what does your next role, like, what are the needs that you have? What are the goals that you have right now? And how can your next move take you in one of those goals directions, and just start there? And it may be that a corporate job is what you need, whether it's for benefits or for schedule, just financially, just to have a corporate job for a little bit longer while you continue focusing on your business. That may be the right path. And I would just say focus on that for now. I'm done.
No,
what do you say, Tiff?
I say, one, you have stability is critical, because nothing kills creativity like struggling to make sure you have enough to eat and like pay your bills and things like that. Right. So whatever that looks like for you to create stability, to Mandy's point, whether it's that staying where you are right now and building your business, or finding a corporate job, getting settled there, getting in a good place there, and then starting your business, whatever that looks like, making sure that you are securing the stability component of your life, especially if you're going to start a business. And so, to Mandy's point, I wouldn't do both at the same time. If it's like, I have to get out of here, I'm drowning, then it's like, okay, then find a job, get settled, then start a business. Or I can deal if I can get my business up and running. Well, then stay there where you are a little longer. And, between time, then you start your business. So getting clear, like so many women, when they start businesses, they're not clear on like, how will I make money? I know for the first 4 years, I was like, I don't know, I'll just be good. That's not how that works. I was like, when I'm the best, I'm like, Tiffany, yeah, but what are you actually in the business of? So getting clear, like, you know, I mean, you know, you don't have much space in the IG message, but getting clear on if you are going to start a business, a nutritional business, what does that actually mean? Are you building nutritional plans for people? Are you going to start like a group, a community where people can pay to, like, you know, are you going to be like working with, if it was me, I wouldn't do this in conjunction with looking for a new job, to Mandy's point, but you can have this running in the back of your head. So for me, if I have to work on something that I must do for security, I always reserve at least 20 to 30% to work on my big goal, my real goal at the back of my head. So I'll give you 70% safety and security, but 30% is for the goal I really want. So in the back of my head, I'd be thinking to myself, can I start connecting with like, personal trainers online that I can maybe create the nutritional component for them? You know, because most personal trainers, they don't also have nutritional. I mean, I'm assuming you have like, maybe you went to school for nutrition, you're licensed or whatever. So I would start to reach out to people because then they can increase their services and you can get paid, you know? And so like, I would be like thinking of like, how can I, monetize the nutrition business, and how can I do so where I don't have to work so hard? There are trainers out there. They seem great. You're like, oh, they already have 100,000 followers. They seem to be doing great. Let me connect with them. I don't have to look for customers. They have the customer. I can say, girl, I do this, 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 and this. We could charge an extra $100 a month for this. And then we could do a 70, 30, 50, 50, 60, 40 split. Do you see what I mean? This is the kind of thinking that I'd be thinking on that side. But I'd first and foremost secure like I make enough money to pay my bills. If your current job does that and you don't mind staying a little longer while growing your business, great. If you hate it so much so that it's dragging you down, then find another job and then start to build the business. But these are the types of questions I want you to be asking yourself in the background. That's what I'd be thinking. You know, like I wouldn't just dip off and slide off. I'm like, no. Let's make a plan for how am I going to make money? Because so many women don't have a how do I make money plan in place.
And yeah, and I mean, having your own business, it's really tough to have it's one thing to know how to make the money, but it's like, and then build consistency into it, especially with a business where you are the only, like you are the thing that you're selling, you know? So, I mean, I'm just conservative in the approach of like going all in on a business right now may not be the best bet for you. Because you sound really like you want something different. You're really struggling, like your mental health, your physical health is in jeopardy, and you want a change, and a business is only going to be more stress.
Yes.
Let's just keep it 100. And also, like you also have high expectations for yourself. You talk about you're not making as much as you'd like to. You want something more fulfilling, higher paying, more creative. And when it's your own business, like it can be isolating. It can be lonely. It's, and like Tiffany said so brilliantly, I don't think I'd heard that before, but it's so true. When you are financially stressed, creativity is really hard because it's hard to be free and open and big ideas and I can do anything, you know? So for you, it could be about, okay, like zoom back out a little bit and let's just say, I don't have to do everything right now.
Yes.
She says she's only been doing this for 3 years plus 2 in education. So if you've only been working, I'm just going to assume professionally for 5 years, you're like, what, in your mid to late 20s? It's okay. You know, what you've learned is the type of job you have now is not for you, but opportunities are totally out there. You know, I mean, I know I work with clients who are educators in hospital systems, and they'll be in charge of the diabetes education program. And they work with patients who are struggling with diabetes, or work with people who have high blood pressure and educate them. And gosh, I mean, even I was on the phone earlier today, my dad's he had a big meeting about potentially getting some kind of organ transplant. And the first like hour was an educational video, you know, with nutritional experts, and like the need for nutrition education is so huge right now, that I think there's opportunities that are just everywhere, you know, if you look and you can think a little bit outside the box, but again, you need to find your excitement about it and figure out what you do love about it and focus on that, because that is what's going to be able to like give you the magnetic energy to attract, you know, the next right role for yourself in corporate. You're not going to go in there and be like, oh, I was burnt out. No one was like, the audience wasn't engaged, you know, like, come on. You're going to want to bring a much more positive energy into your next role.
Well, AJ, we hope that helps, girl, guy, whomever. Yeah. So we're going to take a break and be right back with another interesting question.
All right, BA fam, we are back with our second question from someone who'd like to remain anonymous, but has a really interesting question. They say, I love your podcast. Listen every week, all caps. Okay, I believe you. Every week. I have a career question. I'm a contractor at a Fortune 500 bank. I had my first phone interview with a recruiter for a permanent position within the company this week. He mentioned background checks regarding credit, but my credit scores are not great. They're in the high 500s, but almost 600. And neither is my credit report. Do you ladies think they will reject me because of this? I am the top performer of the group of contractors that I was hired with, and I have a really good track record since being at the company. The issues with my credit report happened earlier in my 20s, 20 through 24, but I'm much smarter now at 27. Any advice and insight would be greatly appreciated. I love you ladies like my own aunts.
That's allowed. See, if you see,
yeah,
we gonna call her young girl.
Aunts
right?
who could be your sister kind of thing,
No, I don't mind because you have a 2 in front of your number from me.
She's only 27.
So I'm like, man, you still got a 3 in front of your number. So I have a 4 in front of my number. So if you have a 2, I could be your auntie. If you have a 3 and a high digit after the 3, I'm not your auntie, sis. Not at 5 years older than you. You tried it. Try again. We're sisters.
Yeah. She's just good thing. All right. So I'm going to call you niece then.
Yeah. Hey, niece. Oh, I like
we're
that.
Your aunties, your niecey. Okay. Oh, man. All right. So the first question I had was, let me Google this again because credit checks and credit score checks are very different. It is my understanding that it's not uncommon, especially in finance. And Tiff and I were talking a little bit.
And law, too.
In law. In the typical background check for them to also look for, they're probably going to do like a soft credit check of some kind. They probably will not be able to see your scores. I don't think that credit score is a part of that, but they may get some like baseline information about your credit history.
Yes.
And the first thing when she said in my 20s, I'm like, has it been 7 years yet? Because it'll fall off your credit.
Girl, it was like 3 years ago. They're like, oh, not yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know like how detailed, it depends on how detailed the report is. Maybe I would ask, you don't want to like go ahead and I don't think you should mention it because then there might be like, oh, she seems nervous about this. Let's look really hard. But I did have a friend who didn't get a job. And part of that was the financial background check that was for a law firm. I don't know. I feel like you got to let it happen. And if you do get rejected based on that, I think you'll know exactly why. And that is really unfortunate. But I would just focus on continuing to be really good at what you do and getting hired at a different, company or even just staying as a contractor and let this be like a huge, I'm never going to forget how this financial behavior of mine, lost me, helped me, put me in a position where I wasn't able to get a job that I was good at. May not be what you wanted to hear, but
because banks, you're working with money. And so it's not just banks. I remember it was a woman who was working at a call center for like a trucking call center. She didn't get it because of her credit. My mentee at the time, she was just graduating law school. She wasn't able to get a job because of her credit because they were looking, because I guess whatever that job was, they felt like having poor credit would put you in position to maybe make decisions that weren't aligned with what the type of person they were looking for. And let's just say that you don't get this job. The good thing is credit is fixable. You know what I mean? And so like to Mandy's point, I would let it play out. And then if for whatever reason they come back and they say, oh, your credit, then you can say, well, would I be able to be considered again in another 6 months? And then you work your behind off for 6 months to get your credit together. The good thing is you're very young, Niecy. 27 is a baby. I'm just a baby. Right? Very young. And so, so many of us made our mistakes. Lord knows I have. And so you can use the next 6 to 8 months to get your credit together and be considered again. What it sounds like is that one, you are already someone that they're considering. You're a top producer, someone that they're considering for a job. So that what's going to happen again. And the truth of the matter is sometimes this is the thing before the thing. That's what I call it. Meaning that, let's just say, worst case scenario, you don't get this job. Maybe you weren't supposed to get this job. This job was supposed to kick your butt into gear to fixing this credit. So that because a bigger job is coming, that absolutely needs that credit. So this is the thing to get you ready for the actual thing, if that makes sense, Anise. You know? So either way, let this be I need to get my credit together. If you're not sure how, there's so many free credit tools. I have one, the Literature Challenge Credit Edition. It's free. Go to lrccredit.com. Let me see if that's still even up because it's been a while.
When someone's credit is that low in the 500s, I think it's also going to matter like what exactly is on your report. Is it a lot of delinquent debt? Is it older? Like, is it, you're 27 now. If you have a few years of good, healthy credit behavior, maybe that will work in your favor. I think when companies pull your reports like this, they don't want to see tons of debt that you're currently in or like it's currently like badly delinquent, like collections and even a bankruptcy. Have you ever filed bankruptcy?
Foreclosures, things like that.
Foreclosures.
They're looking for liens, I'm sure, because they're looking for like, would you make a really dumb decision with our money because of the decision that you're in? Fair. Meaning like, maybe, especially like, let's just say tellers, right? You're like, you're really running through money. So if you, all of a sudden you get a call from your debt collector that says, pay this money or lose your house, would you slip a 20 into your pocket? It's something, like something like that. But also too, it's just making decisions.
Can you be bribed or blackmailed based on your debt?
Yes. And so LRC credit is still available. It's free. It's our Literature Challenge Credit Edition. It's totally free. So you can sign up for that if you're wanting. Walks you through, it's 22 days, walks you through step-by-step fixing your credit for free. But yeah, that's what I would focus on. So worst case scenario, if you don't get this job, will you still be able to be a contractor with them? So continue to do that. Ask them if you could revisit in 6-8 months, and fix your credit in the meantime. Here are some things you can do to fix your credit. One, you have to make on-time payments. If you haven't automated your payments, do so. I like to have a separate bank account just for bills, so that way all of my payments can come out of that bills account. So I have 2 checking accounts, one for like where I swipe my debit card and spending and things like that. And then one just for bills. And I don't attach a debit card. You can literally detach a debit card from that bills account. So you can't accidentally swipe away your bill money. 2, paying off a debt in full every month is really helpful. And so I like to get a credit card that already has a 0 balance. So if you don't have one, you can certainly open one up. Because your credit is not the greatest, you can look for a secured credit card, to do this with. So a secured credit card is a credit card with training wheels. And you could get a secured credit card from the lowest of the low and like $300, typically upwards of $600 that's not what you pay for it, but that's the money that you give the bank. The bank puts it in a savings account or money and market account for you and says that's your limit. So when you have your card, you can't spend over $600 because they feel comfortable because normally when you swipe a card, you're borrowing from the bank. But if they have your security deposit, they know worst case scenario, if niece doesn't pay us back, we'll just use the money from her bank account. Another great tool to raise your credit score, because they're going to look to see your credit score is also based upon what kind of debt have you properly managed. So one is called revolving debt, which is credit cards. And one is called installment loans, which is like your mortgage or car note, student loans. And one tool you can use for that is this company called Self, like me, myself, and I. And I like Self because the way Self works, or it's called a credit builder loan. You don't have to use Self. If you have a credit union, oftentimes they have credit builder loans as well.
My dad used one of those. I was going to say credit builder loan.
Yeah, so credit builder
loan. Small personal loan.
Yes. And so what I like about credit builder loans, and like Self does this, but like credit unions do this too, is I call it like the fake out loan. You go to like a credit union or like a Self, right? And say, hey, I want to quote unquote borrow money. And they will say, you take the least amount of money possible. I think for Self, it's like $500. And they actually say, I will loan you, niece, $500, but they don't give it to you. Instead, they put that $500 in a savings account for you. And every month you pay them back like you really borrowed the money. And at the end of the year, they give you back your money because they never actually gave it to you. You borrowed it, but you didn't receive it. They give you back the money that you paid plus the interest. And so now it looks like, oh my gosh, like niece, went a whole full year of paying down and off a loan. And so that is one way to raise your credit on the installment loan side. And one way to raise your credit on the revolving debt side is to get one of those, like I said, a secured credit card, and then pay it off every month in full. Put one small bill on it. That secured credit card is to stay home. You're going to put your gym membership, your Netflix membership, your Spotify membership, just one thing that's under $25, ideally under 50 the most, right? Just because I want you to use it as little as possible. And then you're going to have your online, you're going to have your bills account, like I told you, your separate checking account, pay that credit card off in full every single month. So the card is going to be charged every month. It's going to be paid off every month. And it's going to look like, wow, not only is niece paying off her credit card every month, that's revolving debt, looks so good. Niece is also paying down an installment loan every month. That looks really good. You do those two things together, niece, 6 to 8 months, your credit score is going to look cuter than you. And, hopefully you'll be able to apply for that job or something else again. Okay.
Do you think that she should do that before the background check? Like, I'm just wondering, playing devil's advocate, like if they see a new loan, will that raise like some kind of red flag on the employer side?
Well, what I like about Self, I don't know this about other credit builder loans, but what I like about Self is that it doesn't give a ding on your credit report because, no, that's not true. What about Self? I'm trying to remember if that's what I liked about it. I can't remember if Self, because anytime you borrow money, it goes in your credit report. I still would. Because I don't think that having like a $500 credit builder loan is going to be like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I would do at least one of them. I don't think, they're looking now. So, I don't think that that's going to be a big deal. Yeah. So, and like, I don't think getting a secured credit card for $300 is going to be like the make or break. If you were buying a home, I'd be like, girl, don't touch anything. But you're not.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. So the sooner you start, the better, niece. And then, now you know better, you could do better. And that way the thing about credit is that it's like you need to know me before you need me. Let this be a warning to all y'all out here looking for jobs. Get your credit together so that you never know what job is going to be looking at your credit in order to hire you. So you want to already have that strong, so you don't have to think about it.
I love, how it feels when you go to someone who you really love and admire and you go to them and you fess up to something that you've done wrong and they just don't make you feel like shit about it. I just love that she came to us with I did this. Cause as your cool aunts, I feel like we can hear you and we don't obviously, you did wrong and all that, but we're still going to here's a seat at the table. Let's pour you a glass of wine. Let's talk about what we can do moving forward. And
yeah, because girl, we have been there, done that, girl. Yeah. Messed up my whole life with credit, and we here to tell the tale, honey. So not to judge,
You got a few years. Just keep on the straight and narrow. Okay, you got a few years, and all that bad behavior will just fall off. It's 7 years. It does kind of fly by sometimes. Speaking from someone who had a delinquent account.
We want to just we didn't even shout her out. The fact is, girl, niece, what did she say? I'm the top performer of the group of contractors that I was hired with. Niece, we forgot, girl. Yes, you're that girl. Okay. So that I promise you, being the top performer at a Fortune 500 bank is much harder than fixing your little bitty credit score. Okay. You have all the skills necessary. So we want to applaud you for being that girl. Okay. So we want you to be that girl with that job.
Ooh, I want an update. Okay, niece?
Yes.
We need an update. Let us know how things go. Slide back into our DMs. Yes. NBA fam, if you would like to have your question answered by your favorite financial aunties, please DM us on IG. We are at Brown Ambition Podcast. You can also hit us up on Gmail, brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com. And we can't wait to get more of y'all's questions.
Yes. Until next week, y'all. Share. Oh, yeah. Share the wealth. If you know this was a good episode, don't play yourself. Go ahead and share this app. Oh, and Kendrick Lamar won.
Wait. Oh, won the beef?
Yeah, I'm
battle. Girl, I ain't listened to a single diss track, but I have been listening to the Discord, and I have nothing to say on that matter. Bye, BA fam.
Bye.